Good afternoon, folks. This is Fred Campos, owner of DFW Website Designers. And guess what? This is episode number 52 of our 3 business tips in under 3 minutes at 3 o'clock. So, it is a few days before Christmas. I believe it's 7 days to be exact. And hopefully you got most of your Christmas shopping done. It has definitely been an interesting year. For those of you that are tuned in, what we do is we talk about 3 business tips that I think that are based on experiences or conversations or clients or even books that I've read that I think would be very beneficial and helpful to you in your small business. If you're like me, you're an entrepreneur. Some of you may be solopreneurs. I run a very small organization. And any advice, business ideas, tips, tweaks that we can do to help us be more creative, especially during this crazy year, is something worth considering. And lately, I've been giving you advice based on business books that I've read that I've really enjoyed. I happen to be a reader. I'm a firm believer that leaders are readers. We've heard that statement before. Today, we're going to talk about a book by Chris Anderson. It's an old book. It was very popular about 10 years ago called The Long Tail. And this is an excellent book that gives you the idea of the long tail. And for those of you that don't know, that is my first tip number 1. The long tail is the concept of making a tiny bit of money over masses versus making a bunch of money in a small environment. And he tells stories of like Amazon, where they don't necessarily make all their money off of maybe the most popular books like a bookstore would do, but they make a little bit of money on all of the tiniest little transactions that occur. And they offer, hundreds, maybe even 1,000 times more books online than any traditional store. It's that concept of, could we make more money by having a lower price, but having the tail of it generate more numbers? Now, you may be thinking, hey, Fred, our small business doesn't lend itself to that. Well, maybe it will lend itself to this concept with my second point from this book, which is residual income. Some sort of small little fee or service that you provide that generates an income that pays you month after month. These can be subscription services. They could be consulting services that maybe occur on a real small deal. In a web business, this could be tied into hosting. But is there an element of your business that could have some form of residual? And the third most important point that he talks about, which I think is very significant, is that you should go into some sort of niche marketing. Now, when you start a small business, you try to be all things to all people. But what we've learned from this book, as well as many others, is that you actually do better by being very, very focused and niched to that particular people group. So there you go. Those are my 3 tips today from the long tail. First off, number 1, try to have a business that has some element of a long tail. Number 2, create some form of product or service in your business that has some sort of residual income. And number 3, try to focus down as much as you can into that niche marketing. So those are my tips for you today. Tune in every day at 3 o'clock. I want you to be awesome. So now go back to sleep.